Greetings, Midcoast Ukers. Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new ukulele tutorial. I'd like to talk a little bit about blues, and I would like to talk a little bit about playing and improvising and just having fun. And this is inspired by our workshop yesterday with Del Ray. She did a fantastic job. Thank you, Del, for gracing us with your great teaching and inspiration and great playing. She gave us a little concert at the end too. But basically, she talked a lot about a song called Spoonful, Willie Dixon's Chicago blues song, 60s, I believe. And in the context of that song, she taught us a lot about blues, and I'd like to go further with that. I'd like to help any of you that were at the workshop, were not able to be at the workshop, or had trouble with the link, which I apologize about. We'll work that Zoom glitch out, but in the meantime, here's a little bit for anybody who wants more. So we're in the key of C, and in the key of C, when you play a C major scale, when you go, that's a beautiful sound, that's a great sound, and it's very useful for many things, but it's just not bluesy. There's something lacking there. And one of the things Del talked about that's lacking is that seventh note of the scale, the B note. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. B doesn't sound so bluesy. It sounds a lot mellower. For instance, when you play a C major 7th chord with a B in it. That's a mellow sound. She equated it with sitting in a cocktail lounge and drinking cocktails under a palm tree and stuff. And yeah, when you think about those old hotels from the 50s, 60s, 70s that had lounges, and they would have lounge music. A lot of lounge music has that sound in it. That's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about that loungy sound. We are talking about the blues. And so we take that note B and we actually flat it. We make it into the note B flat. That totally changes everything. When you play that, it sounds like this. That's a different sound. That is, it's called the C Mixolydian mode, but we won't get into that today. I have a separate video on that if you want to check it out. But what that does is it makes it fit the C7 chord way better. So when you play something that's bluesy, like sometimes we play Kansas City and songs like that, or a long time ago we were doing Sweet Home Chicago and things that are bluesy in nature, going to Kansas City, that song, Route 66, etc., blues. That flatted 7th, that B flat that we have in a C7 chord, and I know all of you can play a C7 chord, well, you're playing the B flat right there, whether you know it or not. That's B flat. Very bluesy. Just by strumming that, it sounds like blues. So that by itself is a nice thing. But then when you're improvising on top of that, if you're going to be doing a solo or playing a melody on top of that, you want to use the note B flat. That's one of the blue notes, is the flatted 7th. She also talked about the flatted 3rd, which is very important. That's what gives blues its kind of minor sound. It's how blues mixes major and minor together for an especially emotional and kind of moving sound. So the flatted 3rd is E flat. Right there, the 3rd fret of your C string. Easy note to grab. Well, if you just go back and forth between the notes C and E flat, something simple like that, not very complex, not very creative, just something real simple. I just, play instinctively. That's bluesy because it has the note E flat instead of the note E. E is a happy sounding note. Everyone knows that kind of sound, the E, but E flat. sadder, darker, bluesier. So the flatted third. Another thing you can do to make that sound bluesier, as Del was talking about, is to bend it. To pull that E flat note down a little bit towards the floor. Lean on it real heavy with your finger like that and pull it. That's bluesy. That's what guitar players are always doing when they play blues. They bend the strings. So there's another really easy way to get a bluesy sound. And then the third blue note is the one that is officially called the blue note in music theory. And that's the note in between the notes F and G. It's the note G flat. So your note F is on your E string first fret. The note G flat is on the second fret of that string. And the note G is on the third fret. So by playing that G flat, you get a very bluesy sound, almost dissonant. It almost clashes if you stay on it too long, but if you use it judiciously, it sounds like. There's the blue note, so it creates a lot of tension, but if you use it in passing, it just plain sounds bluesy. So that is the blue note, the flatted fifth, they call that. The note G, the fifth note of the scale, flatted to make it G flat. So many songs use that. That's a very, very common thing to hear in music. Being a very famous example, Sunshine in Your Love by Cream. So there's the three blue notes that Del Rey was talking about. Another thing that she talked about that I'd like to go a little further with are three chords you can play in place of a C7 chord. If you don't want to just sit there and play C7 the whole time. I mean, that can be fun too, but if you add to the C7 chord your third finger on the third fret of the E string, that eliminates the major third, that eliminates the open string E and puts a G note there instead. And that's a much more open sound, a lot less major, and very conducive to blues. It in combination with some of those other blue notes we talked about. So that is a great little C7 voicing, 0, 0, 3, 1. She took that up to the 6th fret. That's kind of a C minor voicing. That's a partial C minor chord, almost enough notes to call it C minor. That's a good one too. That's a good one. And then she went way up there to the 10th and 11th frets and did this one, which is very high on the neck, but you could not a hard chord to play. To do other stuff around it might be a little difficult, but the chord itself is just two fingers. It is the 10th fret and it is the 11th fret. 10th fret on the A string, 11th fret on the E string. Beautiful little chord. Kind of a C minor chord. So this was very C minor like. This was very C minor like, and then this was just plain C7. So you can mix and match some of these sounds in blues. Blues has a lot of different cultures melted into it. It's a big melting pot. And so sometimes you get those minor sounds, sometimes you get those 7th sounds, sometimes you get major sounds depending on the type of blues. So a lot of different cultures, like I said, that go into it. And Del did talk about that a little bit. So 3 chords, C7 here, C minor here, and C minor up here. Those are really good. So another thing that she talked about that I would like to expand on is the concept of play. So we talk about playing music. I play the ukulele. I play music. I play with Midcoast Ukes. Well, the word play oftentimes means having fun, you know. You don't play to not have fun. You work, you know, to make money, and you work as an occupation or a career, and you stay gainfully employed and engaged in, you know, a pursuit. But oftentimes, play, you know, when we think about play, we think about playing outside, playing in the snow, playing at the playground, play, you know. But when you play a musical instrument, sometimes it's good just to play, just to have fun. And so this blues stuff is a great thing to play with. And so you could just take, for instance, your everyday C chord and play with it, you know, explore. What notes are near that C chord that you could add to it? Well, one of those notes is way up here on the 6th fret. If you reach your pinky out, or some of you might want to use your third finger for that, but that note is E flat on the 6th fret. That's a good note to play with. If you play with that, you're going to sound like a blues guitar player. So you could just play in a very childlike way with those notes. The note C here, the note E flat here. I just took one finger. I don't recommend playing like that. I was doing that to demonstrate how simple it is to do that, and it doesn't take a lot of skill or knowledge or experience. You're just playing. So I was doing it technically incorrect, just to show you that I'm playing around. I'm just having fun with those. I'm not worried about doing it the right way. And then above that E flat note, 2 frets higher, up here on the 8th fret, is a great note called F. And then above F is G flat, that we learned was a blue note. And above that is G on the 10th fret. So there's a whole bunch of notes. You could make up tons of blues riffs using those. So of course, learning your scales, that gives you an advantage too. But even if you don't want to study and be all serious about it and practice scales and learn all the proper music theory and stuff, just playing with the notes, just take one finger and go along one string like that, and you're going to find notes that sound to you bluesy. And so I encourage you to do that, to play, to explore. Don't worry if it sounds like noise and it doesn't sound like, you know, music that you'd want to play at Carnegie Hall or something like that in front of a bunch of people. Just play, just do it for yourself and have fun with it. All right, Midcoast Ukers, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I was able to shed a little more light on that for those of you that were at the workshop, and those of you, for whatever reason, were not able to be at the workshop. Well, there's a little kind of preview into what Dell was talking about. And we do have a recording, and let me know if you have any trouble accessing the recording of her workshop. I'll get that to you so you can see it for yourself. All right, Midcoast Ukers, you take care. Bye-bye.